Hello, this is Doug Hines, CEO of PathWrangler. Welcome to our training video. Today we're going to show you how to get your first gear list built. In previous videos, we had created a template called the Skeleton Coast, and we're going to go back to this trip again and build a gear list for it. So as we start from our main dashboard page, we're going to go into My Templates. And we're going to build a gear list from the template page. So as you click on the template, you'll see over here that we do all, as we mentioned in earlier videos, we will be doing all our editing through the Organizer toolbox. The Organizer toolbox is over to the right in the green. Click on this, and we're going to go over here to build a gear list. So we haven't built a gear list. The gear list that we have, or the gear module that we have here, is actually divided into two different lists. The first list that it defaults to is the individual gear list. The individual gear list is for all the gear that each individual who's going to be on the trip is required to bring. There's also another list here called a group gear list. The group gear list is for all the organizers, for all the gear that is going to be used to support the trip. Things that they'll be using and collaborating and planning together. We'll talk about this at a later time, but the only people that can see the group gear list are those who have been given the organizer role. In this case, we're going to start off with the individual gear list. In one case could be all the individuals that you're planning with, or if you're a commercial expedition or a commercial trip as an outfitter, this is for all your clients, the things that they'll be required to bring. So we're going to start over here, create an individual gear list. We're going to start over here with some clothing. Now, we have a whole list of items that we pre-populated in the gear list, so it makes it easier to build your list. So there's two ways that you can find a gear item. Is over to the left, which is the hierarchy. We're in the clothing area right now, and there's other subcategories that are in here as well. Let's say jackets. So as you click on jackets, it'll narrow down the list. And there's a whole list of various items over here. So we're going to add a down jacket to this list. It's very simple with one click. Now with this item, we can add a note that might be particular to this piece of gear that is relevant to that we want to communicate to the individuals that are going on this trip. So let's say in this case, we're going to say make sure that it doesn't have holes. And we'll save this note. And everybody that now gets this list will be able to see these notes. Also, you can increase or decrease the amount that are here. In this case, we only want the individuals on this trip to bring one jacket. So we're good at the default number 1 over here. Next, you're able to suggest actually specific recommendations. This is just a generic down jacket. If you think it's relevant for either your clients or people that are on this trip to have some further information, you can actually suggest various products that are here. This actually does two things. If somebody doesn't have one of these items, they can go in there and purchase the item directly through your list. Secondly, there's different types of nomenclature for various types of gear that are out there. If they're kind of confused by the term, they can go in there and actually see the specific item that you want. There's a visual representation, there's pictures and everything through Amazon that they can see, so they can compare it to what they might already own. So to actually suggest a product, we're going to add this in through Amazon. So we'll suggest a product, we'll click that button. It'll default into the generic term. So if you don't know specifically what you're looking for, you can just use the default and search Amazon down jackets. In my case here though, I know what I'm looking for. So I'm going to recommend the North Face Nipsa jacket. And here it is. I'm going to add this to the list. You can also add multiple ones that are in here as you want. Or maybe you don't like this one and you're going to remove this one. So you can add and remove as you need to. Also, I can add as many other different types of brands as possible. So if I don't want to feel like I'm pushing North Face, I'm going to give people an option to look at the Mountain Hardwear as well. We'll search Amazon for the Mountain Hardwear Sub-Zero, and we're going to add this. Now, as you can see, these items are now product suggestions. You can suggest anywhere from 0 to infinity products for each level as you see fit. So these are links that take you directly into Amazon. So as you can see, if I click on this, it'll bring me right to the NIPSA jacket. And if you're individual that's received this gear list, if they go in here, they don't have this item, they can go in and buy it, purchase it right through Amazon. So we're going to add in a couple of more things. So we're going to say things like, we're going to add some shirts. So we're going to add this, but we don't want them to bring just one shirt, so they're smelly the whole time. So we're going to say they're going to need to bring 4 shirts, and we're going to say make sure that it is not red, because we're on safari and we don't want to scare the animals. We can make project suggestions as we said there before. So we can go through all these other elements in here. The other thing is too, another way that you can search if you don't want to click through things, we can say things like GPS. We can search through the search button. We'll find it through here, add it to the list, and you're good to go. The last thing to point out here is this element of one of the elements here is red tape. This is another piece that people need to check off on a list as they're getting ready to go on a trip. So red tape, these are all the elements that are things like currency, documents, permits, vaccinations. So in this case, we're going to add some documents to this trip because you're going to need a passport on this trip. We can make a note like, make sure it is valid 6 months to expiration prior to departure. Or we can add visas, medical release forms, things like that. The other app, we can do vaccinations or permits, or we can do things like currency in here. So this is a good place for to communicate to people to bring a certain amount of their we can say bring $100 for tipping your guides here. So this will give you an idea of what the red tape list is. This is a very important one for trips, especially the more international they are. There's lots of red tape items that need to be taken care of before a trip. So it'll come up on someone's gear list when they receive it. So now that we're done, we can always go back in and review our gear list and see how it is. We can see we got the amounts right. We have the notes, and we have the various categories that are in here, so you can navigate them on the right here. If you want to go back in and edit, you can edit. Or maybe you build a partial gear list and you want to come back later, you can do that as well. And then you can also make sure that you've got the right recommendations. So this right now is how you build your individual gear list. In the next tutorial and training video, we're going to show you how to build a group gear list.